You know, when a volcano like Mount Spurr starts making noise, you kind of have to listen, especially with what, almost 300,000 people nearby in the Anchorage area.
Absolutely. Gets your attention.
Yeah, so we've got the latest info here from the Alaska Volcano Observatory, the AVO. We know your time's precious, so we're just going to dive right in, try and make sense of what's actually happening.
Sounds good.
So our goal here is simple. Get a clear picture of Mount Spurr right now based on what the AVO is reporting.
Exactly. Cutting through the jargon, getting to the core of it.
Okay, so first up, earthquakes. The AVO says seismic activity has been, well, elevated this year. In the last month, they're clocking about 60 to 80 quakes per week under Spurr. Now, that sounds like a lot.
It does, yeah. But context is key here.
Right. And interestingly, that number is actually lower than what they saw back in January and February.
That's the important bit. While it's still more active than baseline, the rate of those shallower quakes has dropped off a bit. That could signal a change.
A change in what's happening closer to the surface, maybe?
Yeah, potentially. But what's really significant is what's not changing much deeper down.
The deep earthquakes. You mean the ones more than 6 miles below sea level? The ADO says those are holding steady.
Pretty much, yeah. A consistent rate.
So what does that steady beat tell us?
Well, that persistent deep activity, it strongly suggests that magma is still on the move way down below. The engine is still running, so to speak.
Okay, the deep engine's running even if the surface rumbling is eased off a bit. Got it.
Exactly.
And it's not just shaking, right? Doesn't the ground itself sometimes bulge or shift when magma moves? Deformation.
Yes, ground deformation. That's another key indicator the AVO tracks. It can show magma accumulating or moving upwards.
And what are they seeing there?
Interestingly, they've noted that this deformation has actually slowed down over the past 3 weeks or so.
Oh, okay. So that kind of matches the decrease in the shallower quakes.
It could, yeah. It might suggest maybe a temporary pause or slowdown in whatever magma was pushing closer to the surface.
Okay. But one area where things are a bit fuzzy is volcanic gas, right? That's how they haven't been able to get measurements for a while.
That's a problem, yeah. Since March 21st, apparently. Bad weather's kept the monitoring flights grounded.
Why are those gas measurements so critical?
Well, the types and amounts of gases coming out, like sulfur dioxide, can give us really vital clues about how close magma might be to the surface and its potential to erupt.
So without that recent data...
Without it, it's harder to get a complete assessment. It's like missing a vital sign. The AVO themselves point out this adds some uncertainty to the picture.
Right. So, okay, you've got fewer shallow quakes, slower deformation, but steady deep quakes and no recent gas data. What's the bottom line from AVO on eruption risk?
Their latest assessment suggests the likelihood of an eruption has probably decreased somewhat based on those, let's call them modest changes in the monitoring data we just talked about.
Okay, decreased somewhat. That sounds moderately reassuring.
Moderately, maybe, and this is the really crucial part, they emphasize that an eruption absolutely remains a possibility.
Because of that deep activity.
Precisely, because that deep magma movement is still ongoing. So it's definitely not a situation where everyone can just, relax.
Understood. Possibility is still there, even if the odds have shifted slightly. Now, Anchorage, it's not right on the volcano's doorstep.
No, it's about 80 miles away, outside the immediate blast or flow zones.
But ash travels, right?
Yeah.
What's the history with Spurr and Anchorage?
That's the key concern for the city. History tells us Spurr can definitely impact Anchorage. We saw it in 1953 and again in 1992. Both eruptions sent ash clouds right over the city.
And what did that mean, practically speaking? Just a bit of dust?
No, it was more than that. In both cases, Anchorage got coated in about 1/4 of an inch of volcanic ash.
1/4 inch doesn't sound huge, but I imagine fine, gritty ash everywhere is not good.
Not good at all. Think about it, fine, abrasive powder. It gets into everything. Disrupts air travel, ground transport, impacts air quality, can damage machinery, electronics, clog filters, even affect power lines if it's wet. A similar event today would cause pretty widespread issues across the whole region.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. Surface signs at Mount Spurr, like the shallower quakes and deformation, have eased off a bit lately. But deep down, there's still magma moving, which keeps the possibility of an eruption, and therefore ashfall over Anchorage definitely on the table.
That's a good summary. And the lack of recent gas data just adds a layer of, well, we don't know everything right now.
Yeah, it highlights how dynamic these systems are. You need constant watching.
Absolutely. Continuous monitoring is essential.
It really brings home how these geological events, even if they feel distant, can ripple outwards. So here's something to chew on. We talked about a quarter-inch of ash from past eruptions. In today's world, our super-connected, tech-reliant urban environment, what kind of unexpected chaos could even that seemingly small amount of ash actually cause? Something to think about.